We're on AyinBase 12. And we'll start 4 lines from the top. The line begins with what aliya v'histalkus. In the middle of that line, I mean, we're quite long on this issue, so we'll just go right in. The point, the hint that we're discussing is the principle that oir stays connected to its source. And that is essentially the difference between keli and oir. Keli means that it comes down and it becomes a presence independent from its source, although it has a source. It becomes a presence independent of its source in the place where it is being placed, whereas oir continues to stay connected to the source. And this is why the oir is in a constant state of rising, drawing upwards to its source. We discussed this quite extensively. I just want to make one more point. So we said that the oil stays connected to the source. And as a result of that, it has a constant drawing to rise upward to the source. What is the relationship between these two principles? That it stays connected, and therefore it wants to rise upwards to the source. And the principle in this is as we discussed quite extensively, that in truth the initiator, that is the reality of the existence. What is the real thing that is present? In essence, it is the principle that started it off, that initiated it. This gives it its sense of reality. In other words, if something occurred, like I'm saying, something occurs as an accident, unintentional, it doesn't have a real presence. Real presence is only if it was intended and the intent came from and was initiated by this source. Therefore, the oil it stays connected to the source and it senses its source. Therefore, it is drawing constantly to the source because that is where its own truth is. This is where the meaning of oil actually is vested. So this is going to be further discussed here, and we'll have a chance to really bring this out quite clearly. Okay, so we started the Sibas HaHefresh B'neihem.
Good question. If the reality is that there is an initiator, how could things be accidental?
How what?
How could things be accidental? If everything is initiated by the Creator.
The truth is, if you ask me, in real terms, there is no such thing as an accident.
That's
Everything has hashgacha pratis and so forth. But when it is an accident, it means that you do not see the source.
Okay.
The oil sees the source, and that's why it's so important. All right, so again, there's 4 lines from the top. The cause for the reason, the difference of the nature of oil and the nature of keli, who mashe hakeli eina bebchinas dveikus b'm koila. It is the fact that the keli is not bebchinas dveikus b'm koila. Again, the word bebchinas has a very specific meaning over here. The keli also comes from a source, and it owes its presence to the source just like oil does, but it doesn't have that quality with it. It doesn't sense this element. It senses its own presence, and that's why it doesn't have this tendency to go to the source. The oil on the other hand, who b'chinas dveikus b'm keli, as an existence, it is b'chinas dveikus b'm keli. It has the element of being connected to the source. This is more directly is going to be discussed as we go. Similarly, the fire here below, yesh boy teva aliya. It also has the nature of rising upwards. Why? Because the fire is bivchinas, has this quality, this aspect. That is the mitzias of fire as it exists, and it represents the inyan kirul mikoira, being closer to its source. So we will discuss this. Fire is a little bit an elusive concept. We will have a chance to discuss it a little bit. The Yisoid ha'ofor, because we know that there are 4 Yisoides, 4 primary elements that constitute everything that exists in the world. And these are, Ofor is the lowest, above that is Mayim, above that is Ruach, and above that is Eish. The Yisoid ha'ofor, the element of Ofor, Shehu gas b'yoyser, which is very coarse. No, okay, you can't show
Who's Afar? Afar?
Earth, dust. It is gas b'yoyser. It is very coarse. I don't think we need to elaborate this. We'll make certain points as we go. Tivoy leired lamata. Its nature is to fall down, to descend downwards. What is the difference between up and down, higher and lower? Higher means, essentially in simple terms, meaning, significance. Lower means just an existence, a presence. The lower it is, the less significant. The less significant is manifest by it. The higher it is, the more the emphasis is on significance. Like we have all the mashonim. I just want to mention very quickly. A table is made of wood. The wood, this is its lowest element, that which brings it down into the physical reality. But the concept of table, which is a human concept, that tends to go upwards. That is, as a matter of fact, as we pointed out, when you grab hold, when you touch, we in an indirect way we say we're touching the table. We're not really touching the table. We're touching the wood on the table. The table per se cannot be touched. Table is a rufnisiki in it, is a concept. The wood makes it present in our world, and therefore we can use it. We explain all the time.
It's not that the table being established in the wood. You say it like this.
The table is being established in the wood, but it remains a ruchnisiki in it. Established. It brings it down so that you can have it in the physical realm. I could point out the table. Yes, it has a function that you put things down on the table. But really, as we pointed out, that the real significance of the table on a human level is not the fact that it is util, it serves him, that he can put these things down. As we pointed out, when people get together just to have a meeting, to talk, and sit around the table, even though there's nothing there on the table. The table defines a definitive place that allows a person to confer and to think and so on. It brings out in the person a presence. Just like the Gemara says, Odom shen Beis any Odom. The same thing at table also.
Certainly Yashvus. Certainly Yashvus.
Yeah. It brings out the qualities of the person. Just when I say Odom shen Beis any Odom. This is an external thing. Bias brings out in the person the human qualities. This is a human quality, remains connected to the human being. Then there is to offer is the lowest element. That has no, it does not, it cannot say it has no, but it does not manifest. It does not stand for any rufnisiki inyan. And therefore it is kasbi yoser, it is very coarse. And tiba lirid lamato, its nature is to descend downwards. Why is its nature to descend downwards? Because downwards is the least demanding, downwards means that it's not dependent on its significance, just a presence. That descends downwards, that's what down means. To go down means, in very simple terms, stand up, you have to hold yourself up. Go down, you don't have to hold up anything. In order to hold up, you have to have a spirit. What holds things up? What holds a person up? His spirit. Down does not need a spirit.
But there's always something holds you. When you're on your back holds you. But it's
no. What holds you up is not the back, it's your head, it's your brain.
Yeah, but what happens when you lie down?
When you lie down, that's you lying down. Then you're not standing up. You're not using your spirit.
I see what
Exactly right.
The fact that the water even more actively goes down and soaks into the.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But offer goes down and stays down. That is offer. It has no up quality at all. We can elaborate on everything and endlessly, but it's sufficient for this. So when gas beyosin is very coarse, and everybody understands and recognizes this. Definitely its nature is to return downwards, because downwards means he doesn't have to have a spirit to hold himself up. B'chein, similarly, Yisoid Hamayim, the element of water. Yored migoveiha lenomuch. It descends from a higher place to the lower place. That is the nature of water. There's a difference between the nature of water and the nature of offer. Offer descends downwards just to be down. Water descends downwards, but it does not stay where it falls. It spreads out. Water has an element of movement as well. Even after it is down, it has an element of movement. Offer has no element of movement at all. It's gas b'yoser.
It doesn't point out that point.
What?
Similar.
Yored migaveh le'nomuch is not the same as lired lamata. V'yisoid haruach, then there is the element of ruach. Ruach essentially means air, wind. Yesh boi gamkein sheyored milmato lamato. It also has the element that it descends from up downwards. Although ruach is kind of stays in place, but nevertheless it stays in place as long as there is a matter.
Comes from higher, that's the point. That means yoida.
What, water?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it has the element that it descends downwards. Even though ruach, you would say, is neutral, it moves freely, but that's not entirely true. It moves freely as long as as there is the earth to which it's attached.
But why is it called yoida?
Yeah, that's yored. It has the element that it's yored lamata. It has yesh gamkin. This is not fully defining it because it stays in its own place. But its own place is as long as there is earth underneath. Like we said, we had the story with the Rebbe Maharash, with the ladder. Remember the story with the ladder? You know the story with the ladder? If you don't remember, okay. There's a story that Rebbe Maharash was playing with other boys in the courtyard of the Rebbe, his father Tzemach Tzedek. And they challenged each other to climb up a ladder of a a step ladder standing against the wall. It was a tall ladder. They were challenging each other how far you can climb without getting scared and come down. And they lined up one boy after the other. They climbed up one line, climbed up a certain hand, and one climbed a little higher, a little lower, until the Rebbe Maharash climbed up, and he went all the way to the top. The Tzemach Tzedek was observing this whole play. So later on, the Tzemach Tzedek asked the Rebbe Maharash, he said, how come all the boys turned down and you climbed up all the way up? So he said, because the boys turned out, they looked down. Once you look down, you have to go down. I didn't look down. I continued to go up.
It's like the tightrope walk.
I was thinking that with the
Yeah.
cat.
Well, I did not look down. I continued to go up. So we discussed this quite a bit. It's conceivable in my mind that the Tzemach Tzedek asked the Rebbe Maharash this question in order to make him aware of his own qualities. He didn't have to look down. Why didn't he have to look down? Because he was not earth. He was not connected to the down. Otherwise, are connected. They have to. I can't be in the middle of the earth. So what's supporting me? He has to look down. Is the earth still there? And that's why you have to look down. He didn't have to look down. Wherever he is, that's where he is. Because in fact, that's what a human being, his focus is on serving the medaber, not on serving the earth. And being proper on the earth. Serving the medaber, whatever I am, can serve the medaber. This is ruach. That's why it's called ruach, ruchnius. Ruach, it keeps a person up. It still has to function on the earth, it nevertheless it's connected to the earth, and it goes. It also is later in Lemata, but it holds it up. Okay, enough about this because this we discussed many times already. Beside ha'esh, then there is the element of fire. In everything that exists in the world, in physical, there is in the Yesod ha'esh, the element of fire. Mitzad hadaku shaboy, due to the finesse, the refinement that in this Yesod, harei hu rak oilo lamaylo, that has exclusively one movement, upwards. Its tendency is only upwards. In other words, it cannot agree with being downwards. It is down. If it's down, it's being held down. But it in itself is constantly fighting to go up. And thus, this explanation, Nimshal Elokus the Atzilus Leish. The Elokus in Atzilus, of Atzilus, or the Managim Atzilus, is compared, the motion for that is Eish, is fire. Meisha Kosu. And as the Pasuk says, Ki Havaya Lekecho Eish Oichlo. Eish Oichlo, it's a consuming flame, fire. Meisha Kosu B'Makemach. What's meant Havaya Lekecho is Eish Oichlo. This is referred to the Elokus that's in Atzilus. So even though we'll briefly discuss this in Atzilus, the Elokus of Atzilus has a presence. In what way? In the sense that the Elokus of Atzilus is mislabish in Keli. In Atzilus there is oil b'Keli. Keli means that there is a way to identify and define this inyan.
What's the pasuk from?
I'm sorry?
The pasuk, where does the pasuk come from? The pasuk, this pasuk.
Havaya Lekecho Eish Eichlo, a pasuk in Torah.
Where?
In Beis Chanon. Where is Beis Chanon?
That's fine, I know.
Right.
Mitzad dakus, this fineness that fire has. At first glance, fire makes noise and is very hot. It doesn't seem dark. It's also seemingly in conflict with other things.
Its heat and its noise is.
What's the element inside?
That's right. Its heat it is only due to the fact that it's fighting, that is being held down. It itself is calm and it's not hot.
Wow. So we're kind of saying fire per se is not involved with fuel. It's only because it's being kept there that it's making a big tumult.
Right.
But unto itself it would just leave.
That's right. It is extremely. It's a very fine, so to speak, and it's elusive, and it's extremely difficult for us to focus on the fire element in a gashmistic entity. I'm going to put it in some kind of words, because we're learning all the time. We have these concepts. Eish Ruach Maim Ofer is actually represented in our world by the 4 levels of creatures in the world. Odom, there's the medaber, and then there is chai, the doimim, tzemeach, chai, medaber. Doimim, tzemeach, chai, medaber are representative in our world of these 4 elements. Doimim is offer. Tzemeach is ruach. We can readily correlate this. And then there is chai, is like mayim, like it's a constant movement. Medaber is eish. So we discussed many times the medaber. To us, the medaber is the most important thing to understand. The human being. So we say, we spoke about this, the physical structure of the human being. All other creatures, the chai and the tzemeach, and certainly the doimim, we can readily understand, explain b'teva, but naturally how they keep their stat in their place. The medaber, the human being, stands on 2 feet, physically. We explained many times, this standing on 2 feet does not have a physical explanation. One cannot release, so to speak, his spirit and stand on 2 feet. He falls asleep and falls. Standing on 2 feet means that he is held up by his spirit. Despite the fact that standing on 2 feet is challenging, it's tiring, and you need spirit, human being, that is the state of being that he wants to be. He wants to be on his feet. Why? Because although he is bound to be on the earth, but his connection to the earth is minimal.
Connected to?
Connection to the earth is minimal. He doesn't depend on it. His connection to the earth is that because he has because the neshamah is mislabish in the goof, and therefore he has to be on the earth. But essentially, he is constantly representing neshamah, not goof. Starting from his physical structure, from his physical activity. This inyan that a person tends to stand is not only because of standing, that's the only way you can go to work. An infant, his first thing is to try to stand up. He stands up and he falls down and gets hurt and cries. What is the next thing he does? He stands up again. So that's a human being. Because this is Eish. The human being is the Eish. This is the finest of all elements. What is the meaning of finest of all elements? The principle that it is aware and connects to the source. I'm not relegated to the place where I am. I am still connected, to what conceptualized me. That's the monkey. Like I said before, the monkey of everything, the real presence of everything is what conceptualized, what initiated it. Enough of this for the time being.
On the line above, I think I missed this. When we talk about you say haruach, is there a typo there?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? Which one is it?
It should be Umayla Lamata, not Midmata Lamata.
Fine, okay. But it also is Yered. It also...
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay.
Now, lakus da atzilus is compared to fire. As the pasuk says, "Ki havaya lekecha eish eichlo." Why does Rebbe? Why? What's the lakus da atzilus? Very briefly, a lakus has no gasus, has no coarseness. Lakus is as we discussed many times, is a non-presence, it's not an entity. As it goes through Seder Yishtalshulos, because Hashem wanted to be Nizgala on the worldly level, and that's what they were tzimtzumim and so forth. Ultimately, it came into Keser and came into Elkus Atzilus. Elkus Atzilus. Elkus Atzilus. This is where when the beginning of existence starts. Because in Atzilus there is kelim. There is oil in a keli. In order for oil to be mislabish in a keli, it has to be reduced from its refined, from its oil element. But it remains a fire. It's a fire that's being held down by the keli. That's in from the keli. The keli is holding the oil. Again, there is enough to speak on this for 3 days, but we will leave this at this point because we have to use a little bit our, so to speak, our own seichel, and we have discussed it many times under different circumstances. So the Kusha in Atzilus is likened to fire, because the Kusha in Atzilus, this is why it's called Atzilus. Atzilus is oil bikeni. And yet, there's a difference between Atzilus and Bria. Bria is also oil bikeli, but Bria is what the keli is preeminent. When the air stays put and held down by the keli. Atzilus, that's what Atzilus means eitzel, close by. Which means Atzilus, the cognizance in Atzilus is not the keli, but the cognizance in Atzilus is the oil and the source of the oil, the rotzen and oimek of Elokus.
Why is fire representing the or in cleaving? In other words, why not just
because fire is also here. Otherwise, it's not an element. It's here enough that it can be held down by the keli. If it is above keli completely, then it's not here. It's not an element.
What is the keli of fire?
Okay. The keli of fire is that which, physically speaking, that which holds the fire down, which allows the fire to burn it up. Wood.
So would it be true to say no keli can really handle fire?
Yeah, of course not.
What is the fires that destroy the
But
keli?
if you go to a more meaningful perception, it would be Gashmish as well. In the Seichel, Chochmah is like fire, because Chochmah is also tending upwards. Chochmah is a non-entity. It's called a Borag HaMavrik, a fleeting spark. It illuminates for a moment, because there's no keli. It's not enough it cannot be grasped in a keli. It's enough illumination that then afterwards, with your seichel, with bina, you can focus in on it. And if you lose it, you lose it.
Could it be compared to lightning?
Yeah, it is lightning. It's like lightning. If you lose it, you lose it.
So that's scaling. So the chokhmah is scaling for the fire in a way, as you say.
So no,
with a more
one second. You're jumping the gun. So chokhmah, this is the the highest element of seichel. And what is chokhmah? Chokhmah is that part of the seichel that recognizes that which is above seichel. That's what chokhmah is. Chokhmah connects that which is higher than seichel, and that which cannot be at all understood or grasped, and connects it to a visible level. That's why it's called the aliya, sight. We speak about sight many times. Sight is a non-graspable experience. You just happen to see it. It's not like grasping, touching something. And it remains completely elusive, completely separate from you. And yet you see it. This is the inyan that it is oil bekeli. This is the oil of Atzilus, oil bekeli, but its tendency is upwards. If I may, again, I don't want to lose it. I just want to make a point. When a person has this fleeting spark of illumination, everybody more or less had that experience, to some degree. When you have that fleeting spark, what this spark is revealing to us is not its own presence. Just like light. Light is not showing you, I'm light. It shows you that which it illuminates. It's completely null, total to the inyan that it illuminates. This is the spark of chokhmah. When you have a spark, a fleeting spark of chokhmah, it is not the chokhmah that you relate to. It is that the invisible element that it reveals to you.
Presence of it?
Yeah, the invisible
Presence of
element.
it?
This is the inyan of chokhmah, that it connects you to that which is invisible. As a result of this chokhmah, that which is invisible, this is life itself, this is the neshamah itself. As a result of this chokhmah, the neshamah can be brought down to be mechai the guf. This is like the link. What enables a person to get up in the morning and to go and do mitzvahs and put on film and go to work? It's called a munah. A munah is a non-entity. But the munah is that which is connected to the source. As a result of that, even when a person walks in the street, a person works, he still senses, but there is also a source from where this is coming from. So even though what I'm doing right now, I can't make sense of it, but there is a source to it. This is the chokhmah. Yes, sir.
It says that we can sense the amuna, that there's a source to it. How does a person sense? Not with his heart, not with his brain, with his nefesh. How does he sense? What is sensing?
All right. I don't want to lose everybody. Do you understand the question?
I didn't hear it.
What's the soul sensing?
What part of a person senses amuna?
What does it mean you sense? How do you sense? You either have it or you don't have it. I'll try to explain this in it. When we touch the book, you hold it in our hand. When you touch something, our awareness and what substantiates, everyone knows what substantiate means?
Makes
What-
it real.
Yeah, what verifies, what proves that there is something here, but that I'm holding it, I'm touching it. This is the beginning. This is this is the proof that it's there. Unfortunately, the entire world, the entire scientific world is on this level. And we say all that exists is that which I can touch. It's a terrible fallacy, but that's the way. This is what it means. I know, because I'm experiencing it. In the human being, in the human intellect, in the human life, in the human rotzen and neuneg, in human neshamah, is a totally different dimension of existence, reality. That is the real, this is what the human being brings to the world. This is the real truth. This is a godly reality. Not itself, there are different levels. There's where it's in seichel. We discussed many times, seichel is totally human. There's no seichel in animals whatsoever. Because they don't have that truth element. Seichel is based. Because seichel is also an elusive thing. We can't really define it. We can't even touch it. What then is it? What substantiates? Why is it real? Because seichel it opens up, and you can see through the seichel. You see the ultimate truth where it's coming from. This is the inyan of his sense. The Rambam says, "Yisoid ha-yisoides amud ha-chochmas." The foundation of all foundations, and the pillar of chochmah, is laid up to know sheyesh shom motzei rishon, to know that there is a first being. In the world, the whole world thinking process, thought process is that something exists because I encounter it. First being means that it exists before I encounter it. This is something which is known to the nefesh, to the neshamah. But it's absolutely known to the neshamah. Why? Because the neshamah sense that we say, so it's smoker before it came into being. That's what neshamah is. And this is how we know that there is a first being. Now it's our thinking process. According to the Torah, our thinking process begins from a first being, not from an encountered being. Encountered being, anything that the encounter is came into being. Our thinking process, thought process begins from a first being. It exists before anything exists. That's where that first being. Sensing is that it relates to that sense, to that thing. I sense, in other words, this is not part of the existence, I can't touch it. But because I know, because I sense in my never, because I know that there is a true being, this is why I'm able to relate to this.
Is it because I know, because I believe?
It's the same thing, I believe.
Because if you say you know, it's,
that's what the Rambam
believe,
says.
Because I believe.
The Rambam says that this belief has to be brought down into knowledge.
Through the perceiving.
Through the avodah of chokhmah and bina, it has to be down into knowledge. But essentially, it's all based on the initial And Amun, initial presence of how the neshamah relates to things. This is how I sense things. Re'iyo is chokhmah. And when we see...
How did you get to the point you're talking about now?
We came to talk about this because a question was brought up. What is the meaning of sensing? What do I sense? How do I sense? So I'm explaining. Sense is that level where in my conscious thinking, my conscious being, I sense that which is prior to conscious, prior to existence. And when I see things, I said I see things, I don't come in contact with it, I don't touch it, and yet it is very real. What makes it real? What substantiates it for me? I only saw it from a distance. What makes that real? Because I know that reality exists. If I did not know that reality exists, then I would not see it. Then I would not have this sense of that sight brings. This is demonstrated by the very fact that the animal Havdil also sees. The animal sees, the human being sees. It's just a parallel experience.
No. Wait, no.
Huh?
No.
It's not a parallel experience. There's no comparison whatsoever. The animal sees, his sight is identical to touch. And I've said many times, an animal sees an obstruction. Whether it's a wall, a house, a mountain, makes no difference. An obstruction, something that does not let me go through. So it sees that it cannot go through. That's a very intelligent animal. On the lower level, when he walks into the wall and he gets hit, and then he goes away.
Or climbs on the wall.
Well,
Instead of an ant, climbs on the wall.
A human being, he sees. When he sees a wall, not an obstruction. When he sees a wall, essentially, he sees the house. He sees the mountain. He sees a completely different thing. He sees the real meaning of what he's seeing. Why? Because he knows that there is a meaning to everything. Because he knows that there is a reality.
This is coming in relation to what you said about fire being the highest and that being connected to most meaningful?
Right. I stepped away from the Maimon. I said that to understand fire, because we would is fire. Eish Ruach Maim Ofer is the Dorm Tzemir Chaim medaber in our world. Medaber is the fire element in the world, although he is mamash a presence. But his whole tendency is upwards, and it's as illustrated by his very physical structure. Yes.
Just to Shlomo's question, which was which part of us senses the emunah, is what we're saying that the seichel senses it, but what it's sensing is where reality is coming from, not just some kind of tangible sense of the seichel.
We sense that which the neshamah is telling us. But in the neshamah, we sense what the neshamah is telling us through our seichel. Through this Borag HaMavrik.
Not the seichel applied lower, but the seichel applied higher.
And it is so clear and so powerful that this defines our path in life. We walk in the physical world. Hey, this is not the real thing. I mean, this is not the real thing. Can you pay rent with this concept? Right? So even say, I would rather live in the street than not have this concept. All right, back back to civilization. The culture came, surely. So here it said fire. Fire is only, so to speak, a subset of oil. But certainly oil. Oil means light. Shuhu dovug, that it is dovug, it stays connected and united with its source. Okmoi, just as it is oil viziv hashemesh ukmashin is boiling. Oil viziv hashemesh, the light and the shine of the sun, as we discussed previously already. And we explained many times, we should not be confused by the scientific interpretation of sunlight, that it is essentially energy emanated from heat. The oil B'ziv Hashem is representative of the principle that the sun is bright, is a bright essence. It's called the Etzem Behiri. Etzem Behiri, not that it's fire. It's Etzem Behiri, a bright essence. To capture the idea, we said that light to the sun is just like darkness to us. Darkness in our world is the primary presence, primary state. Light in the sun is not manufactured by heat. It's a primary state of the sun. It's a godly creation of light. That's what the sun represents. We explained many times that actually light was created not on the fourth day when the sun was created. Light was created on the first day of creation. Except then it was camouflaged. It was hidden into the sun so that because the world would see light, an untangible presence, that's completely counter the basic state of the world, of darkness. The world wouldn't persist, wouldn't exist as a world. That's why it was hidden. It was taken away. Where was it hidden? It was hidden into the sun. But the sun gives us the same, in the principle, the similar inyan, except it's camouflage. It's hidden. When you look at the sun, you oh, this is energy emanating from heat. But the experience of it is immensely elevating. The difference between light and dark is there night. It's not that I'm able to see and not able to see. It's a completely different experience. That was a creation. That was created in the first day of creation, because the world, essentially, after the Tzimtzum became dark. That's the world. And there was a creation that was added into the world that's called Oir. That Oir, this is light. This is the reality of light. Except it was beget now from the sun. And this Oir is Dovug Ben Koir, Dovug to the sun. It is inseparable. If you really understand Oir, it's inseparable. We say, I see because there's light. No, day and sun is identical.
Sun is what?
Is identical. Day a few more words, okay? V'chein hu ba'oir hayoim. V'chein hu ba'oir hayoim. The similar inyan is the oir hayoim, the light of the day, Shehu b'bchinas dveikus b'mkoire. That it has the quality that it is dovek b'mkoire, dovek to its source. All right. The following words I'd like if you should put on the thinking caps. V'alidei zehu b'bchinas oir hamayir. Because it's connected to its source. This is what gives it the quality of being an oir hamayir, an illuminating light. It's not the energy of oil. It's not its. Because it's double bim koire. That's why it has the ian from oil hameir. Oil hameir, oil of day, is different than candlelight.
Different than?
Candlelight. Candlelight has a specific function to make you able to see an object. Daylight eliminates completely the darkness phenomenon and says there's no way you cannot see it. It's fundamentally visible. It's a completely different experience. It brings out the visibility element in the world. Not that you could see the subject. How is that affected? How is that happen? Because the oil is double bim koir, it's connected to the sun. Sun does not know of darkness. And this is how the daylight brings that effect, that darkness doesn't exist. How do you, it's impossible to conceptualize that you can't see. Pointed out, it's an interesting phenomenon. It's a human experience. We all know that daylight persists a certain number of hours. Like these days, sunset is 6 o'clock approximately. A moment before sunset, we can't even imagine that it's going to be dark. As if it's the first time in our life we saw darkness. Because the light is so real that you can't imagine it's not there. And that is mamash a moment before, and then all of a sudden it becomes dark. Because this light, I said it's not a functional light, it's an essential. All of a sudden you're saying that this will be invisible. Yes, invisible.
Similar to when we recognize, we have an experience of truth. We feel like this is never going to stop.
It's never going to stop.
Day, what happened?
What happened, right. That's the Borag Mabrik, right? Oh, I'm resolved. That's going to be it. Okay. After the next sandwich. These words, we had it before in the Maimer. It's powerful words. The idea that oir has the quality of oir hameir. What's meir mean?
Luminance.
What does that mean? It eliminates the darkness. Not it enables you to see. It eliminates the darkness. It's Bechinas Oir HaMeir not because of its own quality, but because of the sun element that it carries. It says, look, there's a sun. How can it be dark? Okay, we're going to stop here. Just want to go into the next. K'moi kein hu b'bchinas ha'oir l'mayla. Similar inyan is in the oil element l'mayla. This is the Chochmah, as we're going to see. Mr. Shem, David Shem will give us a chance tomorrow morning. Mr. Shem. Have a good day. Yeah.